Saul Leiter might be one of the most underappreciated masters in the history of photography. His lens brought a fresh perspective to the everyday, transforming the mundane into the extraordinary. His innovative approach has forever reshaped the landscape of street and color photography.
Everything is a photograph. We live in a world today where almost everything is a photograph.
Leiter's work went beyond the usual scope of street photography by adding a unique artistic touch. He was able to show the energy and details of city life while keeping a strong sense of beauty, lifting the genre to a new level.
A window covered with raindrops interests me more than a photograph of a famous person.
Long overlooked, the reappearance of Leiter's work has led to the history of photography to be rewritten, challenging and expanding our understanding of the medium. This video is about the life of Saul Leiter, his unique style, and how he transformed overlooked moments into timeless art. Born in 1923 into a Jewish family in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Saul Leiter, as the oldest son, was expected to follow in his father's footsteps and become a rabbi. However, his heart was drawn to the world of art, a passion that was met with disapproval from his family. Despite this, Leiter immersed himself in self-study, finding inspiration in European drawing and painting, as well as Japanese and Chinese calligraphy. Leiter's rejection of his Orthodox Jewish faith and his father's worldview was a significant turning point in his life. He once said, "I don't understand people who spend their lives not doing what they want to do." This sentiment guided his decision to leave his theological studies and his home behind, moving to New York City in 1946. It was here, amidst the city's vibrant energy and pulsating life, that he discovered his true calling: photography. Leiter was drawn to Greenwich Village in New York, a district known for its bohemian and artistic culture. This neighborhood was a hub of creative activity and was known for its lively exchanges with artists working with the new ideas of abstract expressionism. Initially, Leiter's work was restricted to black and white photography. However, his creative curiosity and passion for color led him to experiment with color photography, a pioneering move at the time when using the medium as an art form was still in its infancy. His transition to color was not immediate, but when it happened, it marked a significant shift in his work and affected the wider field of photography. Leiter had a unique approach to photography. He wasn't after dramatic moments or high-impact social scenes. Instead, he focused on the small, fleeting aspects of city life, capturing them in a way that felt atmospheric and emotionally charged. This approach stands in the stark contrast to the more straightforward and narrative-driven styles commonly found in documentary or photojournalistic photography. Before his breakthrough with Harper's Bazaar, Leiter had been navigating through a challenging period. He managed to secure some advertising and editorial assignments, but also found himself doing odd jobs and occasionally photographic portraits to make ends meet. There were times when he struggled to pay bills, even having to pawn his camera at one stage to cover the rent. He saw fashion as a potential avenue for his skills, but his only experience had been with models who, like him, were hoping for their big break. The photography world still looked down on color as a commercial medium, slick and superficial. Most curators absorbed themselves in the work of the historical figures of black and white photography. Leiter's work was initially rejected, deemed more suitable for a museum than fashion magazine. But his persistence paid off. When Henry Wolf replaced Alexei Brodovich as the art director of Harper's Bazaar in 1958, Leiter was given 4 pages in the first issue. His work stood out, contrasting sharply with the polished, crisp images that were the norm on the other pages. This contrast was precisely what Wolf was seeking, and he began to assign Leiter to regular Bazaar projects. In 1959, his work appeared in 11 out of 12 monthly issues. His first color pages ran in the February 1959 issue of Bazaar, and they were quietly sensational. Leiter distinguished himself with his evocative, dreamlike photos, capturing life on the ever-active streets of New York. He strayed from conventional practices. Instead of direct shots, he employed creative tactics. objects, capturing his subjects in reflections or behind layers of glass and fabric. This gave his images a misty, almost nostalgic quality, as though each image was a fading or resurfacing memory. In this way, Leiter's subjects weren't just visible, they were like brief, beautiful surprises amidst the city backdrop. His images were a study in contrasts and balance. Foregrounds were often out of focus, with the details emerging in the small, sharp backgrounds. He was unafraid to let large fields of color dominate his images, sometimes taking up as much as a third or half of the frame. This bold use of color and composition set his work apart, making each photograph a unique piece of art. This marked the beginning of Leiter's successful story in fashion photography, a journey that would eventually lead him to rewrite the history of the medium. As Saul Leiter's career in fashion photography blossomed, he never lost sight of his passion for the streets that had first inspired him. His urban photography, genre in which he was unprecedented, was a testament to his unique vision. Leiter was a painter amongst street photographers, giving the pulse of the city a visual equivalent without the usual lack of distance. His images, often observed from a distance, were like strokes of painter's brush on canvas, capturing the world in a way that was both intimate and expansive. Leiter's approach to street photography was a departure from the norm in many ways, and these unique techniques contributed to his distinctive style. While most street photographers embraced a wider field of action by shooting horizontally, Leiter chose to shoot vertically. This choice allowed him to focus on the vertical elements of the cityscape, such as towering buildings and people standing or walking, and gave his images a unique perspective that set them apart. Leiter also adopted a static stance as an observer, often using the cover of store overhauls or storefronts to capture his images. This approach allowed him to blend into the background and capture candid moments of city life without disturbing the natural flow of the scene. His color photographs, which he began creating in 1948, revealed his deep roots in painting, a medium he could never fully abandon. His images were a symphony of calm color surfaces overlaid with deep black shadows. Somewhere in the image field, the blurred signal color of traffic light or neon sign would scream at us, a stark contrast to the serene backdrop. His color images, reminiscent of Expressionism, also revealed constructivist approaches much like modern painting. Leiter's use of color was another defining aspect of his work. He favored muted colors, creating images that were almost pictorial in their aesthetic. This approach gave his photographs a timeless quality, as if they were not just capturing a moment in time, but presenting as a piece of art. Leiter was known to use time-expired film, a choice that added an additional layer of unpredictability and uniqueness to his images. The deteriorating film could produce unexpected colors and effects, contributing to the dreamy, ethereal quality that is characteristic of Leiter's work. In every photograph taken by Saul Leiter, the essence of a painting is already present. However, it's up to the viewer to fully realize the image's potential, whether consciously or unconsciously. Only then does the emotional impact of the image and its underlying energy truly resonate. Leiter's work not only redefined the timeline of artistic color photography, but also reshaped our understanding of photography as both an art form and a genre. For nearly 2 decades, his work has been in the public eye, but it's worth noting that his artistic contributions were largely overlooked for at least 4 decades. This was partly by circumstances and partly by his own choice, as he made his work known only to a select few. It's only recently that his work has gained public attention, leaving us in awe today. With these contributions, the history of photography has been effectively rewritten. Drawing from the rich tapestry of Saul Leiter's life and career, it's clear that his impact on the world of photography is profound and enduring. His work, once overlooked, has been celebrated in exhibitions and books, and his images from 1940s and 1950s are now regarded as icons of modern photography. Leiter's recognition was a slow burn. Much like his muted color palette, his work was initially met with skepticism, deemed more suitable for a museum than the paid pages of a magazine. However, with changes in creative direction at Harper's Bazaar and Esquire among others, his work began to gain traction. His images graced the covers of these prestigious magazines, standing shoulder to shoulder with work by the likes of Richard Avedon. Yet Leiter remained largely unknown, his work underappreciated. Leiter's fame skyrocketed with the release of the book, Saul Leiter Early Color. Edited by Martin Harrison, this was published in 2006, nearly 6 decades after Leiter began his journey in photography. Its publication was a turning point in Leiter's career, catapulting him into limelight almost overnight. The book, now considered a landmark in the history of color photography, presented Leiter's work to a global audience, and the world began to take notice. His first museum exhibition was held at the Milwaukee Museum of Art in 2006, showcasing not only his color work but also his black and white photographs and paintings. This was quickly followed by a show at Paris' Foundation under Cartier-Bresson, where record numbers of people lined up to see the exhibition multiple times. Despite the newfound fame and recognition, Leiter remained remarkably humble. He was a man who found joy in the process of creation, not in the accolades that came with it. The sudden surge of attention and praise seemed to bemuse him more than anything. Fame was never the goal for Leiter. It was an unexpected byproduct of his lifelong dedication to his art. Even as his work was celebrated in museums and galleries around the world, Leiter maintained his modest, unassuming demeanor, a testament to his character as much as his artistic talent.
If I didn't do anything more than my little book, wouldn't that have been enough? How much do you have to do to satisfy people who don't care anyway?
Leiter's work is groundbreaking, blurring the lines between different genres and transforming them into a visual language made up of bits and pieces. His photos oscillate between the real world and artistic abstraction, creating a unique blend of fleeting details and more composed scenes. Saul Leiter might have left us in 2013, but his legacy continues to resonate in the world of photography. His unique approach, unwavering commitment to his art, and unique vision has forever altered the landscape of the medium. His work, once overlooked, is now celebrated as masterpieces of modern photography, inspiring photographers around the world to this day. Another photographer who carved his own path in the world of color photography is Joel Meyerowitz. Known for his vibrant street photography and pioneering work in color, Meyerowitz, though his style is profoundly different from Leiter's, shares a similar ability to capture the essence of everyday life, making the ordinary extraordinary. If you enjoyed exploring the life and work of Saul Leiter, you will love learning about Joel Meyerowitz too. See you in the next video.